Our next speaker is Marko Pogačnik, who is a great friend of Gatekeeper and has spoken at our conferences before. Unfortunately, I think Marko is not able to be present with us, so we have a recording of his talk. He's a UNESCO artist for peace, and he weaves together art and geomancy. Marko is known for his work with lithopuncture, a form of acupuncture for the earth. He will talk to us today about how to retain our human identity in the face of what he calls the accelerated dance of the earth changes. It is very much on today's theme. As I say, his talk's been pre-recorded because of challenges with broadband quality, but I'm sure you will enjoy it. So here is his talk. Marko Pogačnik.
Together with my dear friend Bojan Brecel, we are creating this video in the time when in Glasgow the conference on climate changes is going on. I believe that from the point of view of our geomantic research, the concept of the climate changes is much too narrow. It is too narrow to be able to confront all the problems that humanity is facing together with nature on this planet. So I would like in this talk to first of all to show a different possible view upon what is going with humanity and the planet. Since the early 80s, I am aware that the Earth and humanity as well is involved in a very basic transforming process. In effect, it is a transmutation, which means not just changing the form, but also changing the content, especially the content of our relationship, human relationship towards nature and towards the earth and its different worlds of existence. It started with an insight that says that the earth as we knew it long ago, does not exist anymore. That we are in the phase when the earth as one-dimensional environment exists only in our memory, while at the same time the planet Gaia and her collaborators are creating a new spatial structure that is composed of different spheres. I had, for example, such a dream that inspired me very much. I became like a giant, and I am floating in the space, and then I see the Earth, very beautiful in its colors. But when I get it into my hands, I realize it is made of concrete, and it is a model painted with oil colors. And I threw it against the ground, and the earth split in many different pieces, and all these pieces formed spheres, and this sphere starts to rotate around a central point, which I would call Gaia, the ancient name the Earth. And a kind of cluster was formed, as we know it from chemistry. A cluster composed of these different spheres. In effect, I was shown a process of decay on one side of the narrow intellectual model of the Earth towards a new kind of composition that includes different dimensions, different spheres of reality, those visible and invisible. I believe that the Earth that we inhabit was finally formulated in the time of the Renaissance, when the scientists started to believe that the Earth is just the one that we know as a physical Earth. And this concept was worked on till finally we as human race in general believe that the Earth exists only within the boundaries of the material sphere, the material planet. So this is why I say that the Earth that we inhabit is not the real Earth, but is a human creation. What is, of course, there is the real Earth, hidden, so to say, behind. And only through the geomantical knowledge, especially new ways of perception, we started to realize that the Earth is something else and not just the wall that we saw from the photographs from the satellites. I think that perception is basic. Through the perception of natural phenomena, the Renaissance scientists created the Earth as we have it today. But now, through pluridimensional perceptions, it means perception not just with the physical senses. We started to realize that there are different dimensions of the Earth. I speak of 10-dimensional Earth, but basic is perception. It is not a perception with dowsing tools. I speak about perception through the body, in effect through the aura, which means there are energy or fields or magnetic fields around the body, and they are highly sensitive to all kinds of vibration, also very, very fine vibrations. And through this, the body gets information about different qualities in the space that, say, let us say we walk like here in nature, and all different aspects, elemental, angelic, fairy aspects, they sound in the environment, and our aura with its fine membranes around can get imprint of these vibrations. That is then through resonance transferred to the body, and our consciousness is capable of sorting these different qualities and vibrations in a split of a second, creating insights on different levels, on the physical level, on the emotional level, but also on spiritual levels, creating an inner image. So the new perception comes into being in collaboration between what our senses or our sensibility is bringing as information to our consciousness and human collaboration with this process. We don't speak here about objectivity, but I speak about subject objectivity, which means it is a synthesis of what comes from the environment and what our consciousness is capable to create in the sense of imagination. This is imagination, inner feelings and images that finally through the rational mind it is possible to understand what we perceive, what dimension it is, and what connection it has to life. So based on such perception, I started, and also of course some other people or my or other collaborators, we start to be aware that the earth is living, is giving farewell from this narrow model that human awareness projected upon the planet, and started to evolve towards a new constitution that does not exclude any of other realities, any of the parallel worlds that the earth in effect is composed of. It is not my intention to tell you the whole story of the Earth's transforming process during the last few decades, but I would like to concentrate on what is going on actually now in this process. This last phase of the changes started nearly 2 years ago, in the January of the last year, 2020. I noticed it first time in Venice. I do study of Venice since 1978, but when I arrived this time after the New Year to Venice, I realized that everything is changed. It is not like before. I was walking the city, all the places that I know since so many decades, and they all were different quality. At the beginning I could not understand, but repeating my explorations at that time, I realized that Venice, together with its lagoon, represents, or better to say, embodies a seat of a future Earth. Later, I was also traveling to different places in Europe and found such seats also in other places, always different from each other. So I believe that the Earth does not know past or future, that she has in her memory already the future present, and the future is present within these seeds that have a form of a mandorla, like also usual seeds have this form, but they are very large, sometimes 10 miles or more, and the landscape there, or cultural structures, right, like in Venice, with different churches and sacred places, they represent at the same time something that refers to now and something that refers to the future. And this, what refers to the future in the structure of these landscapes or cityscapes, has a different quality, different vibration and qualities, even if these places for the past and for the future are the same ones. So, like I would explain like this, that the Earth started to move away from what she was and starts to build a kind of corridor, a kind of stairs leading towards its future form. And then looking backward, I realized that at the same time, when I noticed this new structure in Venice, when I noticed that the seeds that the earth has prepared for the future started to germinate, at that time also the pandemic crisis on the planet started with the COVID virus, like, or manipulated COVID virus, I believe. Like there would be powers that want to hide from us, that the earth is going towards a new phase, towards manifesting its new multidimensional body, by creating fear among people, by creating circumstances that seem dangerous for life, and in this way hiding. I mean also that the concept of the climate changes is already one of these hiding concepts, trying to hide from our consciousness that the earth is in a very important process, and that we are those happy people living in the time of the great quantum leap, not just in the development of the earth, but also of the universe. The next event in the earth-changing process that I would like to talk about happened in the Easter of this year. I had different dreams to make you aware about a basic change. In this process, becoming aware of what is going on with the earth and humanity, I often am lost. Things are coming up that I could not imagine, or I could not feel in the landscape. So dreams help me to understand what is going on. In this case, it was a dream that showed me that the old ways of relating to the causal world are not valid anymore, or are in the process of a great change. If I speak of the causal world, I mean the world of archetypes and patterns according to which our manifested life then forms, get structured. In the change is that from the hierarchical level to more closer to the embodied level. Like hierarchical level, it means that there are general patterns according to which then the life and the way how we think and operate as human beings, they are already preconceived and we follow them. But now this hierarchical model coming from higher towards lower on all levels is in the process of being decomposed, which means that we are not just followers of ideas and patterns that are already there, but we are challenged to become co-creators, which means that life on this level can not run anymore in an automatic way, but to be able to exist, we need to be present in each moment, and we need to learn how to be creative with the life processes. So if we are not present, if we don't collaborate, if we are not connected to life of nature around us, we may lose the space of existence. Where we are nowhere. We get lost in nothing. So this is like further consequence, but the process starts. It is, but it is not just us and environment, or us and the causal world, but also it is in the relationship to other worlds. Like now we can exist even without a connection to elemental world, to the angelic world, to the archetypal beings, the Devic world, and so on. We just exist automatically. But now this will not be, or in the future this will not be possible anymore. We need to be co-creative. We need to be part of a larger family of beings, and through this we are co-creative, not for us only, for humanity, but also for the earth and for nature. The future nature, the future earth cannot come into being, cannot exist if we as human beings do not embody the role that we have. We are such a beings that connect from the material level and elemental level high up to the angelic. We are capable of connecting this, not just connecting, but also become aware, conscious of the relationships between these different beings and worlds. And this is the future of the earth, that there is a humanity as a link between the parallel worlds and evolutions, making possible that through this togetherness something completely new can evolve in the form of the cluster that I mentioned, the multidimensional Earth. Simultaneously with the changing relationship between the causal and manifested or embodied worlds, also another process started, which I call farewell to the old masters of life and reality. It means that there are spirits who has had the role of embodying, inspiring, merely inspiring the way we are living now. They appeared mainly through the patriarchal age, and their task was to lead humanity into difficult situations, because we have to learn to be autonomous in our decisions, to be able to distinguish what is benefit for life and what is destructive. So these master spirits often had very tragical roles, pushing us into crime, let us say, into war and into conflicts, because we had to learn something. But now, when this quantum leap of the Earth is going on, they lose their function, and they started to, or they are, let me say like this, they are ready to leave the Earth. And I am working with groups on some places to prepare a kind of farewell rituals, where we find that such spirits reside, and we don't we don't go on with hate. We go on with reverence. We acknowledge that those spirits, even if evil, even if they appeared evil, had their role, which had a sense in that time. But this sense is lost. So they should be, they should go through a transforming processes to be cleansed, and then also we ask to be given to them honorable place in the eternity, let us say, in the heaven, or so that they can in the future get new roles to support the processes of life. Through this, through this farewell process also goes another process, which is us human beings coming closer to nature and its elemental and angelic worlds. This is not just a new kind of perception of the multidimensionality of nature and landscape, but also creating a new loving relationships, and through creating such relationships with nature, we also learn to change and renew the relationships between us as human beings. What I perceive at this time, I call a quantum leap in the love quality. It is like the potentially, of course, potentially a new aspect of the heart system opens. The love capacity of human beings becoming 100 times greater than we know it or knew it till now. First of all, there is new knowledge about the heart muscle. We know now that the heart muscle has also a fifth chamber where the matrix of the human being is stored. And then I speak about three heart systems. There are three loving machines, so to say, positioned horizontally on our chest. One is this fifth chamber of the heart muscle. Then there is, of course, the heart center. The heart center connects the back side, which means the cosmic aspect of our heart with the manifested side in front of us. And then I discovered that at the right side of our chest, there is what I call a holographic piece of paradise. This holographic piece, it was given to us. We got it as a gift when we left the paradise. With the paradise, I mean that era, perhaps the Neolithic era of the goddess, when we still lived in harmony with nature, with the goddess and with the spiritual worlds. We had to leave the paradise because we needed to enter deeper into nature, to learn more about the wisdom of embodying, of manifesting new, more conscious relationships between us and the nature. And by living this paradise, we got this fractal or holographic piece with us on the way, so that we would not get lost entering deep into matter. But it is within us as a kind of compass, so that our path, spiritual path, would not be lost. And now it starts to be present again, which makes a kind of synthesis of three heart centers plus the elemental heart that is positioned at the end of the breastbone. So there is a constellation of heart centers in the human body that starts to awake and to be present. And I believe that the power of love that starts to manifest within ourselves is 100 times stronger than the intellectual discourse, which is still the main way how we deal with each other and with nature and other beings. I mean the rational path. Of course, this is in contradiction with what we see around us, as the crisis of the environmental crisis on the planet and crisis in the human and political relationships. But this is the dramatics of this time, that the worst situations around are being encountered, or there is a possibility to challenge them from inside, from within, with the love, with the how shall I say, with a very practical, grounded love power that is within us. And I believe this is also complementary to the love power that is in nature. More and more now I realize that the life in the, let us say, in a forest, what makes the forest alive and beautiful and colorful, like this environment here, is the constant love relationships. The different beings of nature, plants and trees and mountains and landscapes, constantly making love to each other. It is the love relationship that makes life on earth so beautiful and so powerful. And now, while our heart system is awakening, our complete heart system is awakening, now I see the possibility that in a new way we relate to all beings of nature, visible and invisible. And through this, a base comes into being. Upon this base, also a new culture can be built, which I call geoculture. To be able to follow co-creatively the changes in the planet, I have developed a set of exercises. These are body exercises that I call Gaia touch exercises or rituals. And also I developed in the last time one for the new relationship to the love power within human being, which I call the 3 hearts exercise. So it starts by creating a mandorla form with hands. You can choose which finger you want to use, and then you go to the heart muscle, and from there you move mandorla form to the other side, and you move also the head in the opposite direction. Through this, you connect the 3 heart centers that I mentioned, and then you open so that the love power can flow freely into the world. So thank you for listening. I hope that you are okay with my Slovenian English. Bye.
Well, thank you to Marko. What a beautiful exposition, and how lovely to learn about our 3 hearts, and to feel that there may be a 100-fold multiplication of our ability to love. And the marvelous description of of love in nature, working through nature, creating this beauty. I did have a couple of questions, or a question anyway, and Marko isn't here, I believe, to answer them. So, or one question, which I wondered, Sarah, Salmon, if you might, because it's very, what Marko was saying was so similar to some of the things you were saying, might answer. Katrina asks, anyone, if the new perception operates on different dimensions to what we've conceived of as reality, what are the implications for how we conceive of physical pilgrimages?
Gosh, that's really interesting, isn't it? The way I'm feeling it, seeing it, feeling it, and working with it at the moment is that actually as you do the physical pilgrimage, as you walk the land, sit in the space, connect into the space, it's kind of, it is working multidimensionally within me. Actually, not even at that moment, most of the time now, I'm finding that most of the time I live that way. My perception is almost scattered across the levels, as it were. Scattered being the wrong word, probably. We don't have the words for this. we're going into new territory, but the way, as I said, the way we think of ourselves, the way we see ourselves is having to change, and it's having to expand, and it is that greater expansiveness. It's expanding out into our field. We expand our field, our ability to connect through these levels, and we maintain that connection. It's not something that you do just when you think about it, it's there the whole time. So as you're physically walking the land, you're connecting at these levels as well. So it's a beautiful flow, a continual flow backwards and forwards between it. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes sense to me. Katrina feels the same. Let's see, she said, yeah, that's an excellent answer.
Brilliant.
She said, thank you very much. That's lovely. I mean, it is, it is wonderful how these conferences, the individual speakers come together and weave the same story, or, this tapestry, which has very, very strong connections. Of course, a lot of that's down to the excellent work that Louise has done in bringing people together with the same interests. But nevertheless, it always feels quite magical. So, well, that's wonderful. And I just thought it was so beautiful that Marko did that in such gorgeous surroundings with those fabulous leaves and the trees kind of nodding consent and the occasional bird tweeting in the background. It's really lovely.